on the Gianna Volpe Report, brought to you in part by Victor Giannini, author of the book Counselor, by Village Overhead Door in Southold, and by Michael Evans, author of The Real Matrix. My favorite millennial is back.
I'm here. Oh, do you know I'm going to be in a fashion show tonight, Bruce?
You're going to be in the fashion show?
Yes, at the market in Greenport.
Really?
Uh-huh. And it's going to be for the Times Vintage, which is my favorite vintage shop out here. And it's actually in the old Suffolk Times building.
So what are you modeling?
I don't know yet. I only just got asked last night by Elizabeth Swigert, who owns the shop. Oh. And yeah, it's going to be tonight from 6:30 to 8:30 at the market, 44 Front Street in Greenport. $15 includes the food and beverage. The wine provided by McCary Vineyards, my favorite.
So did Gianna ever tell you, Victor, about when she was out in L.A. last winter?
Why would he care?
Every single detail.
Did she?
Single detail.
I have no idea.
She had put a pictures of herself in a two-piece on a beach, and it was snowing here. And then the following week, she was back home,
making
snow
angels
up on the roof here.
The stories he makes up about me are ridiculous.
It was true, Victor. I would never lie.
I tend to believe him
because he tells you he doesn't lie.
No, because he knows you.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
that's it.
Victor Giannini, one of my favorite authors, and I'm so glad that we're doing this again. Okay, so I want to do it chapter by chapter. So we talked last time. It's we did.
Victor, you're going to end up being here an awful lot because it's chapter by chapter.
I mean, I can't say I don't mind.
Oh, okay.
The attention and the indulgence is it's kind of nice.
So chapter 1 is the curse, and it starts off, every villain thinks they're a hero. We see Timothy Dune talks about basically this curse. He believes that he is walking poison, and that he is forever cursed because when he was 5 years old, he did not step on a stingray. He's got this fear of bugs, and when he's 5, he goes, his parents take him, on a like to the Bahamas or something, and they put him in a camp, and
they want to get away from their kid for a bit.
Yeah, right. And which my father told me my mom did that to me when I was a kid, and I did not like it. But anyway, and I was talking about, when he talks about this memory that he has about getting this stingray out of the water and then getting freaked out by it because he sees the underside of it. If you ever go to the aquarium down the street, you can see exactly what is talked about in this memory. And I was saying, this is a classic example of how the two hemispheres of the brain stop talking amidst a traumatic event, because you turn it over only to find hidden slits and gasping, pulsing gills like a fat, wet bug, the pale, milky underside of the thing. And I was talking with my therapist about trauma, and she was saying when a traumatic event happens, the two hemispheres of the brain stop talking, and memories get stored in the right half of the brain, which is the creative, colorful side, rather than the left side, which is the counselor.
Yeah, I think this is a very good insight, because he is retroactively trying to explain the injustice of the universe,
of everything, yeah,
on something, even if he takes the blame himself, which is, over the course of his character arc, he finds out that's not true. It's not all my fault. Maybe life's unfair. But I wanted to start from that point because it does infer a lot of the many mistakes he makes.
And it shows like, so you go through, that's the first chapter is the curse. Then the idiot king, when he meets up with the idiot king is when you see him and...
Yeah, the Idiot King is the beginning and the end of the book. So he's speaking to us as a changed person, even though it occurred over a night, yes.
Okay.
So the basically final chapter is also called The Idiot King. It's part of letting you know you're not misreading it. This is connecting back to the beginning.
We have, in fact, come full circle. And that's when you see Timothy and Tracy, you know, their moment, their first kiss. And it again, still filtered through, you know, very, very colorful. There's a lot of, it's just, and it's like every little thing. I underlined so many things. Like, I can smell, and this is where you can see that it's being filtered through the right side of the brain. I can smell the sand, the sea, the salt, and the freedom in her hair. He smells freedom. You know, the fat little beetle, he says, it's smooth like living onyx. You know, bringing these things that are not living or, you know, to life. You know, and
she casually tosses the beetle into the fire without even thinking.
Which I was like, foreboding, oh my God, foreshadowing, blah, blah, blah.
Seems you've read a book before.
Yeah, right. So then the next one is Karate Never Works. That's when, you know, we go back a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes into the city to pick up Barry.
Yeah, Barry's Tracy's older brother and Tim's best friend.
And the mother had showed up and basically told Timothy, you got to go get Barry from Brooklyn. It's the night that Tracy had passed.
Yep.
And that's when we sort of talked about, they see the fox, and in this universe, foxes are extinct.
Mm-hmm.
And so that brings us, I want to do this chapter by chapter. So now we're at Barry's Buddhist bullets.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the ride back to Thornwood.
Yes, this is the catalyst
for the whole book.
Yep. Basically, this is not spoilers because it's very early in the novel. Tim is bearing a lot of guilt over the relationship with Tracy. He's kept it a secret for many reasons, and it's eating away at his mind. So at this point, and this car ride back to reunite the son with the mother on the anniversary of the death, he's thinking, I'm going to do it. I'm going to
I totally thought he was going to do it.
Tear our friendship apart for the sake of being a good friend. And the whole chapter is him resenting his friend who is able to heal and grieve and move on, which Tim cannot do. And he's a real jerk to Barry, which he should not be.
Yeah.
And right when he finally gets the courage to do it, well, something happens that delays that for 400 pages.
For 400 pages. It's really funny. I wanted to know, Thornwood.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Southampton? Is it East Hampton?
I'd say it's a little more of East Hampton.
Okay.
But I didn't want to name the towns as direct surrogates for living on the East End because, for one reason, it makes it more universal to anyone living anywhere. It's not about being in the Hamptons. But also, I'm weird, so I like saying Tomahawk instead of Montauk. And it gives me a little creative freedom to be wrong or lie. Or
yeah, well, and change it a little bit. And you know, I mean, shoot, we've still got foxes, so, you know.
Thank God.
Thank God.
The gods.
Yeah, thank the gods, which I love. So Timothy's got this almost preoccupation with it, and that's how he makes sense of everything in his head. You know, this happened because I angered these gods, or maybe it was actually these other gods. You know, he can't figure it out because there really is no sense to make of it, but he's trying.
He's shifting blame constantly.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things that show the eroding mind is that he talks to himself all the time, and he doesn't know that he's doing it.
Yeah, sometimes he doesn't realize that his internal monologue is actually being spoken to the other characters, and they're like, what are you talking about?
And that, and in Barry's Buddhist Blues, it's happening all the time, because he's getting so close to telling Barry, you know, about his book, and he's sort of like, he'll ask him about Barry's Buddhist Blues. Isn't that, Barry's Buddhist Bullets. I keep saying blues.
It's okay.
That's his story.
Yeah.
The Buddhist bullet is his story.
Yeah, Barry's sitting there, he's excited because his life is finally starting to take off. He's getting published. He's pursuing his dream. And although Tim is not in the same career path or any career path, he's very jealous of his friend, and it makes him feel gross and angry, and he's trying not to show it. And Barry's like, oh yeah, the Buddhist bullet got published. What'd you think of it? And Tim hasn't even read it.
Right, and he just pretends, and he's like, oh yeah, oh. He's just like riffing, like, oh yeah, it's about that sentient bullet that, because he's smart, so he's able to BS his way through the conversation.
Yeah.
And, but he hasn't.
Which is quite true to life for many authors and artists.
Really?
I mean this in a funny, positive way. Is my mom and dad will read the book, and then I don't expect anyone else I know to read it because they know me in real life and they're like, "Oh, good job, you did that." Whatever.
Whatever. People are silly. I like I felt.
Can I point out that I'm laughing and smiling to myself while I say that because it sounds way too cynical?
Oh no, you're fine. I loved all the Hunter S. Thompson references as well.
Thank you.
I didn't misread those, right?
No, you didn't. I did want to make homages to many authors that have influenced me without copying them. And Tim's, the way he slips into other people's way of speaking is another symptom of his loss of identity when he lost Tracy.
Okay. Because he does slip into like a Hunter S. Thompson, like especially like I owe these swine nothing.
Oh yeah, that was a direct. Yeah.
And then Barry says, so in the end, I really owe these guys, and it shows their divergence in character, because and also shows I owe these swine nothing. He's not accepting, like he has no gratitude.
Right.
Barry does, and it kind of shows like the importance of gratitude. Oh, I wrote that. We've got to wrap up. So next time that we have you in, we'll be talking Hell Pump Lizard Teeth in Counselor.
Great, thank you.
Every villain thinks they're a hero, especially on the East End of Long Island. Timothy Dune is one such man. He's a tortured soul, and you won't be able to put down Victor Giannini's new novel, Counselor, as you're reading about him and what could happen to the East End. Roger Rosenblatt of Time magazine called Counselor an important piece of work. Robert WRIV says Counselor is compelling and will linger in your mind. Don't bury your head in the newspaper or in the sand. Read Counselor, Victor Giannini's new novel. Available in paperback or on Kindle from Amazon.com or Silverthought.com. Counselor, the story of what once was an idyllic place that's become home to McMansions and private estates and its effect on one person. Counselor by Victor Giannini. Available on Amazon.com.